Hello everyone and welcome to Fellows in Arms. Today I'm gonna bring you something a bit special because if you've been following the ARMS community as of late, there was a challenge between Mexico and America as of a team battle between the two countries that was issued, and these matches have now been played out and I wanted to showcase them for you guys because I was recording them. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to live cast them as they were played on different dates, so I wanted to take this time to show some of these matches to you guys, because it's been really interesting to see these, for the first time being an international battle within ARMS. Now, if we take a look at this bracket here, you might be asking, like, what the hell am I looking at? And basically what's been going on is that while this has been, for the most part, a team battle between the countries, they made it so that each country will be facing each other in the first game to see who will come out on top until the semifinals, where the best of the best will play, regardless of the countries, basically. And so Raishu here from Mexico made this bracket here. As you can see, in each of these battles there is a Mexican player and there's an American player playing against each other. And we have players such as Gore and Jeddah, who is a streamer, and even Avalon and Ice, who are both from Neopunch. A lot of good players, and Mexico, while I'm not familiar with a lot of these players, it's really nice to see that they have kind of gathered together for this sort of event, and to see if they can get on to the same level as these top players from the United States, because we've been seeing a lot of these players in tournaments placing very high, such as Gore or Tentaman, who has been winning a lot of tournaments actually, and now it's going to be fun to see how Mexico or the Mexican players will stand against this. Now the first game is going to be between the American player Ice, who is also representing Neopunch, versus the Mexican player Bruno in a best out of 5. So let's have a look. We already see some interesting things here, as Bruno is going for a default setup of Twintel, while Ice is going with a custom setup of a Seiki and a Ramram. This is a very defensive setup, as he can use the Seiki from afar to get that damage in, and perhaps even get the stun so he can grab Bruno. And there you see it. Ramram is also very well used on this map, as you can curve around those pillars. Now unfortunately he doesn't get the rush there, but he still has a lead. Bruno has the rush lead though, but it seems to be going well for him so far. So far so good. Oh, and that's a huge hit by Ice right onto Bruno there. I think that hit is gonna do a lot, because now he's in a severe disadvantage when it comes to health. He does have the rush lead right now, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be very tough for him to get back into this, basically. Now both of them having a rush here, both using them as well, and Bruno getting the upper hand, using that height advantage, which Ice just wasn't able to dodge out of. In the end, it seems like it might not be enough, since Bruno has such a health disadvantage. And there it is, the first round goes to Ice. But it isn't over yet. This is just the first round, one of many, and we'll see here in the next round if the players choose to switch out their arms. It looks like Ice is figuring out his setup here, might be switching it up. Yes, he does switch the Seiki to his other arm, and the Ramram towards a Hydra. Maybe he figures one of the pillars, or the pillars are pretty much knocked down, so he can just use that instead. Beats one down as well. Bruno's staying very kind of far away now, doesn't want to get hit by that Seiki and grab. Oh, he still knocks him down, just barely with that Hydra, and gets the rush in. If you get knocked down with that first one, it's so easy to get all the damage in with the Seiki. Oh, there he has it. Oh, it just barely misses the grab as well there. Now Bruno has a rush, but again, it's gonna be really tough for him. Even though he has a rush, that's not gonna be enough. And he doesn't dodge out of that Seiki. A bit of a sloppy play, but this is just game 1 out of a best of 5, so let's see if he can do something else in the next game here. Now in the second game we're gonna head off into Mausoleum, which is gonna be interesting to see how the players play around this middle area instead of the pillars that have been the main part of the DNA lab. Bruno seems like he's going with a heavy and a medium R now instead of the ones that he had in the last one. Ice is staying true to his Seiki and Ram combo that he had in the beginning of the first round. It's a very good combo, both of them being very popular by the higher ranked players. Now they're just trading blows here, seeing who will get the upper hand in the first game. Bruno has a lead for the first time in this matchup. He just barely does not get hit by the Seiki there. It looks like, at least in the beginning, he was able to understand that Seiki and get out of it with the heavy arm. Now he chooses to dodge out of that rush, which is a very risky move. If you get clipped by one of them, you're basically done for it. Now let's see. He is able to get that Seiki with his heavy arm. Oh, but he just gets hit from behind by the Seiki explosion during his rush. Ice is really good with the pressure here. He's not letting up, and Bruno is he lost that lead. Now it's not looking so good for him. And there you go. Bruno takes first round of the second game. Now Bruno has to come up with something here. Like he has severe problems with the Seiki and kind of how he is supposed to predict that. And it's gonna be even worse if the middle of the map breaks, because then Ice can just move around and maneuver around this kind of long range area that you would have. Oh, Bruno is focusing too much on Seiki there, trying to dodge it out, but still gets hit by the Rams in the rush. Let's see if this is gonna be a quick 2-0 or if he's gonna be able to figure it out here. Doesn't look like it so far. Oh, wow, that grab was very kind of interesting. There we see it. I thought the map was gonna explode there, but it seems like it doesn't. And again, during the rush, he gets hit by the explosion. And there he actually releases his block before and gets hit by it. That's kind of iffy there, but another game for Ice. And if you aren't keeping track of the score, it now is 2-0 to Ice, and Bruno has to take it back 3-0 to win this game. And he thinks he will do that by switching up the characters. Maybe that's his answer to this Seiki aggression that Ice has been putting on to him. And see, he goes with the Ram and a Thunderbird. He seems to like the Thunderbird despite of the characters. Ice being kind of wary now, wondering like, what the hell is this guy doing? Why is he changing character this late into a set? Now the Ramen Bowl is Min Min's map, but that doesn't mean it helps a lot, especially now when you can't seem to get around from that Seiki. He's gotten hit so many times by it, so easily. Ooh, just oh, he gets the dodge around, and now has the Dragon Arm. That's strange. He did something really cool, and then he just got hit by the side, or from the side by the Seiki there. He doesn't seem to understand the tracking there. It just hits him every time. Ice is having no problem here. Oh, that's looking like it. Yeah, that's gonna be game 1 there, or round 1 at least, in the third game here. I know the Seiki is hard, but you have to kind of maneuver around that. Maybe block and then dash backwards when it hits you with the explosion. You can't just let it slide like that. Now Ice actually changing to a double Ram for the first time here. Maybe he's feeling a bit cocky as he goes very close in, dodges around, uses the rush while Bruno has his, and just annihilates him. Bruno almost getting that arm. He does not get it in time. Now it looks a bit more even, but I'd say that this is probably more for Ice switching out his arms, not being kind of used to this setup. He chooses to be very kind of close with him, and he gets that hit in. Bruno never charging his arm actually. He does start charging it, but it doesn't finish the animation. Jumping around. He doesn't get any hits in. Oh. Oh, it does get the rush. Wow, I did not believe that that was gonna hit. Now he's actually getting Ice into red health. Ice does have a charge, or rush, I mean. But just another hit, and Bruno's won his first round. Whoa, he gets he gets the grab, and that's the I believe it's the first round for Bruno. Maybe he can take this back. Yell there in the end as well. Alright, the final round of the third game. If Bruno doesn't take this, he'll be out of this kind of phase 1 of the tournament. Oh wow. Comboing the Hydra and Siki, getting the Dong in the background as well. Nice combo there from Bruno, and well, there you see, he just switched back to his regular combo, and it seems to work out so good for him. That Siki, Bruno just has no answer to it. It just doesn't know what to do. Wow, he just... I thought he was gonna get clipped by that Siki explosion again, but he gets the rush in. Now this could be the last one. Yes, it is. Ice taking it a 3-0 victory over Bruno, and that will be the first game for America over Mexico as well in this phase 1 of Mexico versus the United States. Looking back at the bracket, we see that there was no problem for Ice taking that 3-0 victory very easily. Bruno just, it looked like maybe he hasn't faced that kind of a combo before, but he had no real reply to the Siki, and which basically took him out of the entire game and the tournament. So in this next game we're gonna go over to Riquísimo versus Avalon. Avalon also being a member of the Neo Punch clan, which Ice is a member of as well. It's gonna be interesting to see if this next game will prove to be more kind of balanced between the players, or if it's just gonna be a steamroll again for one of them. Going back into the game, we see that we're returning to the Mausoleum, and we're gonna have another Ninjara playing versus Kid Cobra. Riquísimo going with a double bob, Avalon going with a tri-blast and buff. Now the thing is with Kid Cobra, when you use him, his arms get huge, like compared to the other characters, and he also has a huge arm girth. Now this in particular means that it's very hard to kind of dodge out of his big arms. As you can see, he is able to punch away that tri-blast very easily. However, he still gets hit by Avalon, those small hits getting in and kind of chipping away at his health. Avalon getting the rush first, and he might not ever even need to use it, but he still does anyways. Goes for the secure victory there. What he could have done is to save that rush for the next round perhaps, and then kind of used it in the beginning. Now he'll start off with an empty rush, and Riquísimo having his full rush going in this. Now Riquísimo wanting to kind of, well, deflect the tri-blast of Avalon, and he seems to be able to do this now in the beginning. Kind of shooting them away, chipping a bit away at Avalon. Oh, see, that's a very good read of Riquísimo, reading into the arms that Avalon was using and trying to play around that. He still has to get around though, so we'll see if he can do that. Very good play. He's spamming those arms out and getting, basically punching away Avalon's arms successfully almost every time here. Looks like he might be able to take this first round. He's looking very close. Oh yes, Avalon gets that first chip in and can finish at least the second half of the rush there. Riquísimo is not letting up though. He still only needs one more hit to get the first round. Let's see if he gets it. Oh, Avalon's still staying alive, getting that grab in. He only needs about two or more. No. Riquísimo is not gonna let him. Riquísimo getting his first round in this best out of 5 between Mexico and United States. Riquísimo now, if you weren't following, is representing Mexico, and Avalon representing the United States. Now Avalon switched it up from his tri-blast to go with a chakram. He might feel that he was getting too much deflected by those pesky umbrellas. Wow, he's choosing to, instead of dodging or kind of protecting against those, he jumps around the rushes and brings his rush out himself. Now, the level looks like it might break any second now. It might just need one more crab. But this is the final round, so they might just not have enough time for it. Avalon just needs a few more hits to finish this off. Let's see. Just posturing around here. Both players being defensive. Being kind of scared, not wanting to lose. Riquísimo getting the rush. Maybe he'll initiate the last here. Ooh. It's looking very close. Riquísimo using the rush. And he gets hit. Oh, he gets one of the hits. But it's not enough. There's still a bit of time left. Avalon gets his rush too. And finishes off. Oh wow, that looked like it could go either way. Very interesting to see from both players reading each other with the arms. Now this tournament being more the casual kind, as there's no prize money more than, well, there is the pride of the countries. But this tournament is played by using random sets of maps. So in the second game we'll see the Max Brass Stadium, and Riquísimo continuing on with those parasols, and Avalon going back to his kind of comfortable Tri-Blast setup that he used in the first round. Even though parasols are very good against arms like the Tri-Blast, they don't completely 100% counter them, and I think that's what Avalon is like trying to figure out here now, seeing where the timing is, how he can get around those parasols, or like dodge around them, because they don't move very fast. They have a very slow startup, and there you go, he got between them and got the rush in. Now the downside is that the Tri-Blast also has a very slow rush. It's fast in hits, but very slow in rush. So while it's not a 100% counter, it gets very difficult for Avalon to kind of maneuver around this if he can't find the right timing. As you can see by the health bars, both of the players having about a little bit more, 2 bars left maybe perhaps. Both of them spamming a lot and getting the rushes in. Both wanting to use them as quickly as possible. Riquísimo getting beat down out of his own rush. Now, Avalon has a rush left, but he needs to find a window where he can use it. And it's only 10 seconds left here, so he might not have enough time to actually use it. He might just save it for the next round. No, he decides to use it and then gets it in. And it's enough. I think it's just barely enough. When the time ends, he gets the rush in. Very impressive play by Avalon. Let's see what they're gonna use here now. If Riquísimo is gonna still continue on with those parasols. Nope, it's gonna be the double bub here. Let's see how those fares against the Tri-Blast. The Tri-Blast being a light one, bubs being 2 medium ones, so they'll punch through that Tri-Blast, but that explosion seems to be kind of a trouble for Riquísimo to... Similarly to how Bruno has had problems with the Siki, Avalon is just using that explosion to his advantage. See, even there, the speed is just too fast. But Riquísimo is not out of it this yet. He still has some health left and can take this back. Now let's see, Avalon has the rush advantage here with his slow Tri-Blast rush. Yep, it's not gonna get him anywhere. He needs to find a punish window where he can use that. He can't just use it off a neutral stance where he just like uses it out of thin air. It's gonna be too predictable. Now Riquísimo getting his rush back. Maybe he can take this back. There's still enough time, 40 seconds. Woo! Just barely not getting it! He's 1 sliver of health! Will Avalon be able to get back from this now? It's looking very bad, but he gets taken out by his own explosions as well there. Wow, okay. Seems like we got another game left there in the final round of game 2 between Riquísimo and Avalon. Both staying with the second round combos. Riquísimo is starting to read those when he's going to throw out the bub, so the explosions actually goes against Avalon's favor and it explodes onto himself. Both not using the rushes, both very careful with the usage of them, because if they miss them, it could be the end of them in this round and for this game as well. Wow, that was a very iffy grab there, but he gets it in anyways. Now, kind of slowing it down here a bit. They still have 60 seconds left. They don't need to rush anything. Oh, let's see. It's starting to heat up now. Yep, Riquísimo using that rush. Unfortunately, when Avalon is just lying down on the ground, not doing anything. Whoa! Avalon using it in mid-air. While Riquísimo was in mid-air, just punches him out of the air and gets the final round of game 2. Really well played from both players here. Both Mexico and United States really showing what they're made of. For the third game, we'll go back to Mausoleum, where it all started between these two players, and see how well they've started to read into each other now, because they've been playing and, you know, going back and forth in every game actually. So going back and forth between these two setups of theirs that they have. Riquísimo having the Parasols and Bubs setup, and Avalon with the Fire Blast. Riquísimo gets grabbed here in the beginning, and I don't know, it's looking very kind of grim for him here in this first round. He doesn't seem to get that same space that he was able to get in the Max Brass stage. Yeah, kind of sloppy use of the rush there. He is very kind of looking a bit desperate now as he's stressing out. He wants to get that win basically, so he's just kind of using the rush as soon as he can, but you need to find your window to get the damage in as well, because otherwise you'll just get yourself in an even worse position than you were in before. Avalon now going so close into this, using his rush. Very confident play. Only needs about one more hit to finish the first round. They're both like aiming in here. Yeah, he gets it in the end, Avalon. Now, Riquísimo is only one round away from losing this 3-0. He's been having kind of back and forth luck with both of his setups, the Bubs and the Parasols. I've been liking mostly the Parasols, to be honest, but seems like he chooses the Bubs here. Maybe if he can get if he punches Avalon's Tri-Blast before it gets too close. Now he gets the rush in actually, staying true to using that as soon as he can. But he still has a long way to go. Trying to punch Avalon while he's using his rush is very kind of a strange decision. Now he's so low, Avalon gets the grab in, only needs one more hit to finish this off now. Using the kind of grab because he's confident, gets the KO, and that's gonna be 3-0 for Avalon. Although this was not a cakewalk for him by any means. This was a very kind of close game in every round here. So well played from both players. Checking back into the brackets, we see a couple of more results, except the one that we saw now from Riquísimo and Avalon being 0-3 to Avalon there. Is Andy Oz and Tentaman, as well as Rock Lee and Jeddah. These two matches, unfortunately, were not played, and as such, two of the players were disqualified from each match. So Tentaman, who was not playing against Andy Oz, he didn't show up in time and got disqualified. Andy Oz getting the 3-0 there. Same thing for Jeddah versus Rock Lee. So a DQ win for both of the countries, but that's not going to be the deciding factor in this tournament, as there's still a lot of other games that are being played. And we'll see in the next game, which will be against, or it will be QWERTY versus Mario here, who is named Awakte in the game. So we'll see. I don't know which one of the names that he prefers to be called as, but here in the bracket it'll be Mario versus QWERTY. So we'll jump into that game now. Jumping straight into this ramen bowl matchup, we have Awakte, or Mario, representing Mexico as a Min-Min, versus QWERTY, who is the Kid Cobra. Pretty famous for actually knocking out Gore in one of the earlier tournaments when Gore was thought to be one of the undefeated champions of the game. And QWERTY also being kind of well known to be one of the Kid Cobra players who actually almost always uses a heavy arm, whether it's the Megawatt or Mega Bomb, I want to say. But now both of the players having a rush and are kind of similar in health. This game actually being a very kind of slugfest with both players getting hits all over the place. Unfortunately, Mario didn't get the rush in there, and QWERTY is able to capitalize on it and getting the first round of the game. Now, Awakta is playing with a Thunderbird and Ram setup. He is also getting those charge-ins, which is very important. Unfortunately, we had some issues here with the screen actually not recording here for a second, but don't worry, it's getting back here now. And fortunately, you didn't miss a lot, as there was just only one punch going to Mario's way, getting some hits in on QWERTY with Thunderbirds. He's still at perfect health here. Oh, but he gets the arm is going down and he gets the first hit in. Whoop. Oh, and there the screen actually went again. Now, as you could probably tell, I'm sorry guys about this kind of error here, but QWERTY got his rush in and basically got back the lead. Now it's unfortunate here that we weren't able to see that, but he took it back and got the 2-0 victory over Mario. And in the second game we will head back into Mausoleum, which is probably the most played game, or the most played map out of these games here in these VODs. Both players choosing to stick with the same composition as they did before, and rightfully so, as both of them had pretty much relative success. Now the map just breaks here straight up in the beginning, and unfortunately we see these screen tears here of the game. I'm sorry guys about this error that we're getting in this recording of the game. Unfortunately, it's something I can't do about. We just have to kind of see through this and take a look at the health bars, where QWERTY is now having a lead in this game. And it's really interesting to see how this map kind of gets broken here in the first round. Sometimes it doesn't get broken at all, as we saw in the first match of the VODs of this tournament, but now it just broke instantly. Now both players using the rushes, they seem to be very keen on kind of countering each other with these rushes, and QWERTY coming out on top with that heavy arm can just break through any kind of defense that Mario thought that he might have. Now getting that long range hit there. It's interesting too to see kind of Mario not choosing to use the Ram on the Dragon Arm, which is a very common choice amongst a lot of Min-Mins. Instead going or opting with the Thunderbird, getting a faster Thunderbird and also a bigger one as well. Now got the early lead, but QWERTY's getting slowly back into this, and we've seen kind of QWERTY in the previous tournaments actually not being afraid to get onto that trampoline and getting in the face of his opponents. A lot of opponents chooses not to kind of avoid this trampoline, but QWERTY is not afraid. He's just jumping around on this, getting in and just kind of moving in on his opponents without any fear. Now he uses the rush and actually breaks the block of Mario to get the 2-0 of the second game here. Very kind of convincingly compared to the last game that we saw. For the third map, it'll be the Ramen Bowl, and if we're looking at the last two games, it looks to be kind of a convincing win here for QWERTY. Now, Mario actually chose to, instead of having a Ram, choosing to use the Dragon, which is kind of a strange choice. We can see that QWERTY is very much so capitalizing on that kind of slow, slow all around the speed of the Dragon, both in like shooting it out and the laser and everything about it. And now he gets a couple of hits in, but he has such a kind of disadvantage. Actually managed to stop QWERTY there from... now he's actually getting back into this. This is getting kind of interesting. QWERTY, I thought he was going to kind of just close this one out with a Dragon Arm there, but Mario is getting back into this now. And QWERTY is kind of being a bit of a scared now. He's getting hit by like both of these arms. And yeah, wow! Mario actually takes it back with the Dragon Arm. I take what I said back, because that was really impressive. The Dragon Arm is not used by a lot of players in the higher ranks, but Mario did a very good job there. Unfortunately, he gets hit by the full 400 damage of the rush there, and gets cancelled out of his own rush. QWERTY now has switched to the, I believe it's the Popper, which just now totally decimates Mario and whatever momentum that he was starting to build up with that Dragon Arm. It's gonna be interesting to see what he chooses here for the final game 3 to kind of, you know, save him from being eliminated from the tournament. He goes back into the Ram Ram with QWERTY still on the Popper. Could be seen as kind of a small mind game here. QWERTY is very well using those kind of the fast hits of the Popper. Mario not having the chance of dodging out of anything here. Oh, goes backwards, and he gets even the kill from that. That's impressive. QWERTY now 3-0 up and takes the match. Very, as said before, very convincingly. Well played from QWERTY. Going back into the bracket, it's not looking too hot for the Mexican team, as the only win that they've been able to score against the United States is Andy Oss, who got the DQ win against Tentenman. Now the last few games here is not it's not gonna be an easy road for the Mexican players, as they're facing Blast, which is a very kind of strong Max Brass player. Gore, who has been the infamous Helix player, who has been dominating in a very many tournaments, and also Battle is nothing to scoff at as well. Although he will be going up against Mexican team captain Raichu, who I believe started this entire kind of tournament. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, and it will actually be the next game that we'll get into here. So let's see how that pans out. As we head into the fourth match here, it's going to be interesting to see, because it's the first mirror match in these VODs, and it's a Springman matchup. Another thing that's very interesting too is how Battle, the American player, is choosing to play with only the default setup of Springman, while Raichu is only playing with customized arms. Battle very much so kind of predicting Raichu very well here in the first first seconds of the first round. Raichu getting back into this with the Ice Dragon. It's kind of the first time I've seen Ice Dragon on a Springman. So as a Springman main myself, it's very interesting to see how they can utilize the different playstyles of him. But Battle is using the default one, and very much in a convincing manner here, as he takes the early lead and is only about a punch away from winning the first round. But as Springman is the clutch king, he won't be able to take it away, at least not for this round 1 here. But in general, Springman being a very good kind of clutch character, where if you get into that red HP, he can get fully charged arm instantly, and basically take a game that seems to be lost and win it back. Raichu missing his first shot there from the rush, and Battle now getting back into that and getting the rush himself. Raichu only needs to get one hit with the Cracker to make it worth it with the rush, but he didn't manage to get that even. Now he's getting some chip damage in at least, and both of them kind of slowing down here a bit. In between rushes, you don't have to get in close here. Now both of them getting the rushes about the same time. Raichu still a bit of a lead. It's very close here. Oh, he gets, actually, that's the first time I've seen that. The Cracker actually hits him. Oh, and he also denies the rush. Very well played from Raichu, the Mexican team captain here. Only one hit away from getting a round of Battle, who's kind of known to be one of the better any Springmans, actually. Oh, it's very close now. Oh, he gets it! He gets him with the Ice Dragon as well. That's interesting. That's a good showing from Raishu. Kind of, it's interesting to see now when you're allowing the customized arms to see kind of which setup gets on top. Now both players just kind of trading blows here with the rushes. Battle still has his one left here, but it's looking pretty good for Raishu. I have to be honest. He gets those kind of or the Ice Dragon kind of freezes in and is able to kind of mind game Battle into what he's about to do next, and it takes it. Wow! Oh, wow! That was surprising. That was one of the games where we've seen like one of the Mexican players actually taking the kind of initiative and being one of the kind of more solid wins here for them. So very interesting to see, and well played by Raishu. Stepping right back into the Ramen Bowl here, a map that is personally my favorite as a Springman, where you can use that kind of middle area to dodge diagonally on the sides to get in between those punches and under them as well. As we can see, Battle trying to do that here now, going over on the side of the punches, looking to be kind of successful with that strategy as well. Now moving up onto the side here, getting those solid punches in. Both of the players very adamant with that shockwave of Springmans, using it very, very often here. Oh, Raishu does the rush, misses the first one but gets the second hit there, which is good enough. And it's very important as a Springman not to be able to, like, not to spam that dash too much, because then you'll get predictable by the other player. Now, with both players having a shockwave, oh, and there we see Battle taking the first round here of the second game. It's really important to kind of think about how you're spacing your dashes and the shockwave of Springman, so that you don't make it like every other turn. It seems like Raishu is actually holding that back a bit more than Battle. Battle is using that shockwave almost every dash that he's doing. Feels like Raishu, on the other hand, is very defensive. He doesn't want to get too close when he has that Ice Dragon, because it'll be too easy for Battle to just move around it. Oof. He still gets that. Oh, yeah, that's a full rush there. 370 damage. This is very good. Very good lead now. And Battle doesn't have. He has a half charge here, but I think Raishu. Oh. I was going to say he might be able to take it, but now he's in the red HP here. It's looking kind of close. Oh, and he takes it back. Raishu taking the second round there. It's very hard to get that spacing in on this Ramen Bowl, because you want to have that kind of long range, but Battle not kind of letting Raishu be defensive like that, and always staying in some sort of like mid to close range here, where he feels comfortable, but Raishu is not. Ooh, that rush was very kind of interesting. It looked like he dodged and tried to like kind of mind game Raishu there, but in the end it just didn't work out for him. Now Battle did block that rush, but he still got hit by a lot of ship damage from the block there, taking like 5 for each turn. Ice Dragon is like really good, not maybe perhaps at breaking that arm as it did there, but doing a lot of ship damage even though it's blocking or getting blocked. Nice kind of air combo there from Battle. Oh, let's see who takes it again here. Oh, Raishu kind of defensively using that rush, thinking that it would get hit, but Raishu's Battle rather sidestepping that, getting the punch in and getting the second game as well. In the third game of this best out of 5, we'll go back into Ramen Bowl, making the return back into this one. Both players looking to stick to their usual combos here. Let's see if Raishu can actually get that kind of mid-range that he's looking for. He doesn't seem to be able to do that now when he's standing on the edge. He might need to be able to actually go down, yeah, right into the middle here, or kind of to get that spacing from Battle so he can't use that move around his arms basically. Very good combo with the tri-bolt there, using the stun and then getting the grab in instantly. Also there using the shockwave to bounce back the arms and getting a grab in. Very effective use of that. Very nice use of the tri-bolt. Wow! He actually punches away the arms during the rush and knocks him down to get the first round. That's a very impressive play from Battle. Showing very kind of, I don't know, good gameplay sense there. He knew that the Dragon Arm would be too slow, so he could just get in there and punch him. Now Raishu switching out the Ice Dragon for the Parasol is kind of an interesting mix-up. I think he's trying to perhaps get that Tri-Blast from Battle out of the equation, but Battle is still getting those hits in, also using that the stunning grab combo. Now he's getting like way ahead. I think he's almost getting a perfect here. If Raishu lets him. No, it's not going to be a perfect one, but it's very close. And that's game 3, everyone. Very convincing now. Battle charging away with a stronger lead now. Going back and forth between these two levels here, with a Max Brass Stadium and Ramen Bowl being played very oftenly, surprisingly enough. We'll see Battle taking both of the toasters into the play. Perhaps the most vanilla setup you can have in this game. But the toasters are actually very good. People often think that it might not be that, but they're one of the most fastest gloves that you can have in the game, and they do tons of damage if you hit them while charging up. 140 for each hit, which is a lot. But it's looking very kind of stable here, balanced between the two players. Both of them getting the rush, both of them have similar healths. Battle kind of jumping with that rush to sidestep the Ice Dragon. Now Raishu using his rush himself, but unfortunately it's just too slow for Battle. Now just 1 pixel of health. And gets taken out. I'm really liking that both of these players are choosing to have two different play styles for the Springman. Usually that when these kind of mirror matches happen, it could be that both of them are trying to just like play the same style to kind of not be the odd man out, basically. Nice play there from Battle, getting one of the arms. Ooh. And that's another thing with the toasters now. When he has both the toasters on his arms, the rush becomes so fast. You don't have the kind of slow boomerangs of or the slow tri-bolts. You can just hammer away pretty much instantly. Oh, that was very close. Battle almost took Raishu out there during the rush, but Raishu just kind of got that in the last second there. Now I think Battle's just 1 hit away. Raishu too, actually, now both of them, and Raishu takes it back 1 round more there. Now let's see. Both of the players posturing around. Raishu choosing to be on that kind of lower level of the stage, perhaps to get that kind of distance that he is looking for, while Battle is almost chasing him around. Oh, even though Raishu jumped away, the rush from the toaster is just too fast and he can just kind of still get it in. If that would have been Raichu jumping around, or I mean Battle were jumping around, he might have not hit that actually, because Raichu's rush is just so slow in comparison. Ooh, there we go. Raichu looking kind of comfortable with this setup that he has. He can use the kind of the cracker to kind of. Oh wait, let's see. Yeah, there it goes. Raichu using that cracker to kind of like take up space and then predicting where battle will go with the laser from the dragon, basically.
Yeah, baby.
Now heading off into the last game between these two players, Mexico versus United States. Springman versus Springman. We'll see who takes it away and see if Mexico can get one of the first players into the semifinals. No Mexican player has been able to qualify so far, with only like a DQ win coming out of versus Andy versus Tentenman, but no actual real win in terms of actual play. Both players sticking to their kind of regular combinations here. Battle going back to a tribal toast combination, wanting to use that stun and grab that he got there as well. Raichu not being able to use that dragon effectively like he did in the last game, at least so far. Now Raichu getting in that rush, almost maximum damage there, 340 damage. Now Battle, you see there, going back to this tribal combination. It's not as fast and it's not as easy to get that rush in. Ooh, it's very close for both players, and Raichu getting the grab there, getting the first round. He might be able to actually get to become the first Mexican player in the semifinals. Very hype for his part here. Alright. Will Battle be the first American player to kind of get knocked out in this tournament? It's also kind of it's pride on both parts here, as the players are. No one actually wants to lose this. There is no prize money in this tournament, but of course there is the country pride that you don't want to be the only loser of your team, basically. That's gonna be a horrible feeling going out of this. Now Battle has a full rush lead here. If he wants to use it, he should be able to use it like as fast as possible to not let Raichu get the kind of rush lead later on. But he seems to be okay with not using it, just getting those stun grabs in. Ooh, now he uses it. Oh, and it's successful! Okay, this is the final round now. It's 2-2 to both players. Final round, anything could happen. And they're both gonna stick to their arms here. Raichu getting that long distance hit in. Oh, uses his rush immediately. Gets also 340 damage. Very well played. Battle not being able to get those shockwave deflects in for that cracker. Oh, Raichu actually getting a grab from jumping. Springman not being a very kind of good character for jumping. Now he's very close to getting this. Raichu just needs one or two more hits to get this and move on to the semifinals. But Battle is doing the clutch work of Springman. Has the rush in as well. Oh, gets the stun in. Oh, can he do it? Oh, he does the rush. Gets Raichu in the rush. Now they're both just one hit away from winning. What? And it's a double KO in the last game, in the final game of this quarterfinal, I guess you would call it. They get a double KO, so we're heading into another extra round here. Extra round, holy crap. Can it get more hype than this last game? I think not. Now both players should be very careful of their next step. Raichu getting that crucial rush in now in this last game. And also, it feels like Battle is very kind of stressed out about this. He's trying to get in there, but he's not kind of being careful. He's just like jumping into the Raichu's arms here. Oh my god. you thought that Raichu might win that last one, but Raichu was very, very kind of clutch there. Oh, let's see who takes the last one now. It can't be another double KO. That's just too much. Both of them having rush. Who's going to use this? Oh, Raichu doesn't even need it. He just gets to grab it and then takes it away. Raichu is the first Mexican player to move on to the semi-finals of this tournament. Congratulations to him, and well played by Battle, getting that double KO in the last round, or almost last round there. Wow, what a game from both players. Jesus. Looking back at these brackets for one last time, we see that there has been other games played as well, and this is because these games were not recorded. All of these games were happening in the kind of order that I've been casting them today in this video, and we see that Raichu was moved on to the next stage. Unfortunately, Flowers versus Gore and Bullet versus Blast was not recorded, and they went as Gore winning 3-0 against Flowers and Blast winning 3-0 against Bullet. So Raichu was actually the only player who was able to move on from these brackets as the Mexican player, but which was cool because then we did see that it wasn't a complete steamroll from the American side there, and this was actually the last game for this video, and I thank you so much for kind of tuning in to this video and watching this. And thanks to J-Knight, who has been recording 2 of these battles that I wasn't able to due to time zone restrictions. So thank you to J-Knight and to Breakthrough, who is his new team that we'll be seeing a lot more in the coming future, I believe. Now, if you're wondering about these, like the next step of this tournament, then you should join the kind of the Facebook group of ARMS, which I'll link in the description of this video, and you should also kind of go to the Neopunch Discord and check that out. I believe Avalon and Raichu, who are both the kind of leaders of this tournament, will let people know what will happen, and if there will be a live stream or if someone else will be casting it. Maybe it will be me, maybe it will be someone else. If you'd like my cast, then you can of course follow me on Twitter, which is Comedefur, and Twitch, where it's the same name there. I'll be streaming podcasts in the future called Fellows in Arms, which is basically just a podcast revolving around ARMS, where we talk about different subjects relating to the game or the community, perhaps tournaments and stuff like that. So if you'd like to see more of that, you should subscribe to me or follow me on my different channels. So thank you again for tuning into this, and I hope you have a nice one, because this was cool. I hope we have a lot of more of these kind of international matches. So see you guys around. Bye.